everybody, I'm making this video to show you the difference between the three styles of Atlas bipod. You've got the V8 and the PSR, which are very similar to this, the smaller version. Then you've got the 5H, which is this big guy here. If you go on the Atlas website, you can click on the right hand side of the screen as a little comparison chart. I'll try to put one up for you, but it basically looks like this. And it's going to have all your specs about all three styles of bipod. The V8 and the PSR look very similar. One of the ways to tell the difference is this little bump right here in the front. And what that is a forward-aft limiting boss. That's what they call it. I called up the rep and I said, what is that all about? And she said, the guys in the military were using these and they would put them on the rifles and then take them off, on and off, on and off. And they found that the muzzles of the guns were pointing upwards for some reason from doing that so much. And she also stated that like 90% of the consumers out there are not going to experience that. So it's kind of like a military upgrade thing. Another way to tell a difference, which you can't necessarily see, is the V8 has legs that spin. They actually spin quite well. The PSR, the legs are locked. And I bet you could actually get them to spin if you took out this little set screw. But I like the fact that they don't spin. And one of the differences I noticed was when the legs are extended, oops, you've got a little bit of flex. You can see that bit of flex in there. When the legs rotate, that flex is a little more exaggerated. You got a little bit more to it. So that's one of the reasons why I prefer the PSR. The forward-aft limiting boss, it really makes no difference to me, but it does help me find level again as far as level on the bipod, not level on the bench. So that doesn't really affect me much at all. One more note on the PSR and the V8. This is a Gen 2. Gen 1s and Gen 2s, there's a few ways to tell the difference, and the biggest one is going to be this thumb screw here. This thumb screw has 4 points on it. That's a Gen 2. Gen 1s have a 5-point thumb screw. One other thing I noticed since I've owned both was the engagement right here is tighter. The leg engagement for each leg setting, it's a lot tighter on the Gen 2. I think the fact that the legs don't rotate, which makes them a little tighter, and then especially the engagement on the inside here just being a little bit more snug, and it seemed to translate to a little better accuracy downrange, a little more stable of a platform, which just a little bit of a difference, a little bit of an upgrade for me. I'm not saying everybody's going to experience that same thing, but is it worth it for the extra, let's see, about $40 for you to get the PSR versus the V8? That's really up to you, the shooter. The V8's an awesome bipod. I would not tell anyone not to get it. But I would steer someone who's going to buy one brand new, I would steer them towards the PSR. Now the PSR versus the 5H, obvious differences. This is for a really, really stable platform, more of a bench rest type setting. You're not going to want to take this into the field necessarily. It weighs twice as much as the PSR does. And I'm going to go over the way this goes on a rifle because there's a little bit to it. The legs extend the same way. They do not spin. The adjustments are the same as the V8 and the PSR with the little button here. It's pretty solid and stable. A little tiny bit of flex in there when it's all the way closed. All the way open, you're going to see that exaggerated. It's got this big old curved piece of steel here, and that's how you find your level on the bench, is by going back and forth like that. You can also see a little divot inside here. That's basically going to be your centering mark. So you can, oops, am I tight? Yeah. So you can move your box to the center and run in this thumb screw, and that'll find dead center on the slope, the swing. This thumb screw does come all the way out if you want to. I like to keep it threaded in just a few turns if I'm not going to use it. And then you have the ability to pan left and right. Biggest disappointment for me on this was, well, not only the price, these are very expensive, but the way it goes on a rifle. The way you install this on a rifle is you'll take the center section and slide it off to the one side with the quick release. Put it on and tighten down your quick release lever. Then you have to find center or level, whatever you're after, and tighten down your thumb screw. You have to tighten down that thumb screw every time you use this. Now you're still going to have the ability to pan left and right, and that tension is adjusted by this little star underneath here. You would undo this, adjust your tension how you want it, and then tighten up your thumb screw again. If you have no use for pan, you can run in this little thumb screw in the front. You can find that center part, and the whole platform's just going to be a little bit more stable for you. So as I mentioned before about an accuracy difference downrange between the V8 and the PSR, I saw that accuracy go up again between the PSR and the 5H. Guys, you can buy Atlas bipods with or without the quick release. They're going to be cheaper without the quick release, but if you think you're going to need the quick release at some point in the future, it's just better to buy it right away and take it off if you don't need it, but buying it later is going to cost you quite a bit more money. Guys, the PSR model does come with longer legs, so if you need something a little bit taller, you can go with the PSR, and it's going to be, let's see here, 280 or 340 for a little bit longer. Now the difference is 4.75 inches compared to 7 inches. And then on the high end, it's going to be 9 inches versus 13 inches. So if that's something you're looking for, you can do that. It's kind of a midway point between having the short one, the standard size, and the 5H big guy. The V8 and the PSR models come with the quick release option as well, and you simply just find that spot on your Picatinny rail and snap your thumb lever closed. You have pan and you have tilt on these models, and the tension is adjusted with this thumb screw. By loosening it, it becomes much easier to pan or to tilt. And then you can either leave it that way if you're going to move around a lot, or you can tighten it up once you find your level. I find on the bench rests like this one, when I'm shooting down range, I might end up on a little bit of curve and have to just give my gun a little bit of tilt. So I'll loosen that up, give it just enough tilt to where my bubble level reads level, and then tighten it down, and then I'm done. I don't have to worry about it again. Same thing with the 5H. I find that perfect spot, tighten everything down, and get to shooting. So guys, all this was meant to be was a quick video. Hopefully I could illustrate the differences for you between the three models and share with you some of my experiences from using all three. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you know someone that could use it, by all means like, share, do all that kind of good stuff. And thank you for watching, and happy shooting.